So yes, hello. I'm Emily Woodnall at Bristol University, and this is a project co with Sarah Martin Denham at Sunderland. And sadly, we don't have any findings. We've literally just started this project, so maybe that's a good thing at the end of the day. So it might be a bit more light touch in terms of just going through what we're looking at. So yeah, not in school. It's a project looking to better understand reasons for children and young people not attending school, and with a particular focus on understanding their mental health needs to try and inform future policy and health intervention. So lots of people involved. I've deliberately put our community organisation partners in the middle, which is Square Peg, Not Fine in School, and McPin. Square Peg and Not Fine in School are two wonderful community interest companies that advocate for young people not in school, and Square Peg in particular do lots of policy facing work and government lobbying, which will be very helpful because it's becoming quite a political issue as I move on to the next slide. So school non-attendance is a public health issue. So I think it's increasingly being recognised as one, and we've seen lots in the headlines over the years, and I've the Children's Commissioner reinstated that it remains a priority moving into the new school term. And essentially, school absence often reflects underlying mental health difficulties as well as broader mental health problems, but also schools are really important sites for health promotion more broadly, but particularly mental health promotion. And children and young people that aren't in school, therefore, often miss what provision they could get via school, and that could be as simple as like referrals through teachers or school mental health interventions, but also kind of just broader safeguarding and staff checking in on them and looking for kind of potential risk factors. And school non-attendance also can reflect and often perpetuate health inequalities. So that's something we're quite keen to focus in on this project. I saw in the news very recently, Loughborough have also done a really big study on school absence and mental health. I haven't yet read the full paper, but I thought I'd put that in there as well for those interested. Project AIM. So I should say this is kind of a first stage project. So it's looking at, I don't want to call it a formal pilot, but it's a kind of a scoping, exploratory focus looking at why children are not attending school. There has been a lot of focus on absence, and I know Sarah has expertise in this area and you'll hear from her shortly, but typically focus on those excluded, but this is a much broader project looking at all the different variations. So hearing young people and family journeys into how they came about not attending school, but also to find out what we can do to support these children and young people to either attend and thrive in school, or what mental health support they might require if they don't make it back into school. So we're quite keen to focus on both those avenues. So it's not an absolute, everyone back into school and how can we help, but it's also, if school isn't the best place for young people, what mental health support might they require. Maximum variation sampling, which is a very technical speak for trying to get a diverse range of experiences. So we're including primary and secondary ages. That was something when we did our original public involvement that was quite strong that came through, is the need to understand primary and secondary experiences and how those might differ, and barriers to school attendance might differ. So we're hoping to gather quite in-depth stories that vary from each other, and documenting kind of families' unique journeys and experiences to non-attendance. And as I said, moving beyond just to focus on those who've been excluded, but lots of different groups or characteristics. So, for example, those that might elect for homeschooling, but not necessarily been excluded. And just trying to gain a much better understanding of the variety of reasons young people don't attend school. So I'll be leading the qualitative interviews. We're hoping for 30 interviews in total. We're quite aware this is a quite hard group to engage, so we're looking for around 10 people in each of these three groups. So children and young people aged 11 to 21. We included up to 21 to allow young people that have recently left school to reflect on their experience of not attending. Primarily because it might be very difficult to recruit younger children who are in school. So we've added that up to 21 as an option as well. Parents and carers of both primary and secondary age students, and as well professionals, so school staff in both mainstream and alternative provision, policymakers, local authorities and relevant charities. And we're going to, I've never done this before, but we're going to be offering the choice of email interviews as well as telephone or online. The Not Finding School, Beth Bodicott, who has done a PhD in this area, actually did in email interviews, and it was reflected that this group often want an extra layer of anonymity and perhaps don't wish to be on the phone or show their face on online interviews. So it's, yeah, as a researcher, it will be my first experience navigating email interviews. So that'll be interesting as we go through. I'm going to pass over to Sarah to talk about the more kind of creative, fun methodology that she is going to be leading.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, so I'm Sarah from the University of Sunderland, and I'll introduce Pull Up a Chair. So Pull Up a Chair is it's a creative arts project which takes place over 5 days, and there's a lot of pre-work of about 2 months getting to know the children and their parents who are going to take part. So I think this will be films 25 and 26 as part of this project. So in the past, it's been children aged 5 to 16 who've been suspended or permanently excluded from school. There are pull-up chairs with children who've newly arrived from Ukraine, and pull-up chairs with children who are too anxious for school. So it's really good that this one's kind of building on those last two films with children who are anxious about school in Northumberland. So how pull-up chair works is it's their project. They script it, they perform it. So it says performance in the loosest sense. I'm always staggered that they will actually talk to camera to share their views, but some might choose to do that through stop animation or through an avatar or something else. And it's really there, it's giving them a vehicle of their choice to express what they think and feel. So there'll be 2 pull-up chairs. I work with a theatre maker and a filmmaker. It will be the same team doing both. They've now fully on board. So the first will be in Redcar in Cleveland, and we're hoping that will be with the primary age children. So we'll have 5 to 11s in there and up to 12 of them. And I've contacted, it's the Assistant Director of Education. It's fully on board with that. And we're hoping to start that pull-up chair January, all being well, January, February. And the process will be, at first is I'll make the connections with the parents and we'll start the WhatsApp gathering of needs. So how we're going to best meet the needs of these children when they take part in pull up a chair. So it'll be things as much as in the past I've had children who had to have Heinz tomato ketchup available, orange Lucozade, McCoy beef. So it's all the things that to make sure that they feel comfortable in that environment. Organising the venue is really important with this group. In the past, pull up chairs have predominantly been in schools. That won't be suitable, so it'll be finding the right venue within the Redcar Cleveland area. So the second one's Greater Manchester. I've made a connection with Power 2, who do a lot of intervention support, and I've done a previous project with them. They're going to support the recruitment for the Greater Manchester area as well, which is great. And I think the Manchester one's probably going to be, we're going to try and get past the dodgy weather, so probably May time, April, aiming for April, May, just after that Easter break. And they'll fully script perform. It's not an invasive approach. They might go on location. So we've been to the beach. We've been all over the place with pull-up chairs, and they'll create a showstopper. They're allowed to develop a showstopper that they want as part of that film. They fully approve the film. they are involved in checking the edits of that. And from the pull-up chairs I've done so far, the children have all become quite empowered as part of the process. There's something quite magical about spending 5 full days with children and young people that allows you just to really get to build those relationships and support them really to have that voice. So pull-up chair is fantastic. I'll put a link in the chat too, so that those who are interested can have a look at what that pull-up chair involves. But very excited, and actually the pull-up chair Northumberland group that I've just finished with, that's them on location in Blythe, are really keen as well to get to support kind of that, the next phase, to support the next children to take part, which I think is wonderful. Yeah, so what we're going to use is Living Archive. There's a link there, which is great. So you'll be able to see at the top, it's Browse Exhibitions, and you'll be able to see the contributions of children in Northumberland made. And I'm delighted that 2 of those children have now gone back to school, which is what they wanted and it was right for them. So that's great. So Living Archive, we can upload audio, we can upload film, photographs, all of those things as well. So he's based in North Tyneside, which is Whitley Bay, which is up our way, and he's the partner of the theatre maker, which is particularly helpful if I get stuck. Yeah, so Living Archive, really good resource if you want to be creative. Freedom of information requests, these will go out to all the boroughs, London boroughs, metropolitan districts, sorry, I've got a cough, local authorities. And it's really looking at where are the children, so where are all the children being taught, and what about specific groups such as elective home educated in EOTAS, which is education other than at school. So really to get a sense of what are the characteristics of these children and who's waiting for a school placement, quite importantly, and how long have they been waiting. So that FOI, I think I've done about 3 in the past, really good, giving you a kind of a broader insight. And we've talked, haven't we, Emily, about doing some kind of clever geographical, like basically colouring in a map of England to show where the hotspots of where the biggest challenges are. So yeah, it was very quick whistle top of FOIs and pull up a chair. Is that okay, Emily?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Sarah. I know we've only got a few slides left, so I was just going to draw attention to some public involvement. So I've been working with some young people on a logo for the project, and it was just nice to hear already through that kind of design of a logo, they're quite keen that children aren't in school and it's not like a shut door and they're necessarily hopeless and sad at home, which the beginning phases of the logo clearly were stating, which is probably my fault entirely. But there was just some nice quotes here about there is still a path, there's a future ahead, there's opportunity, rather than saying, you know, these children are stuck at home and with no pathways. So that was I just wanted to draw that public involvement into attention, and then just an overview of how we're hoping to disseminate. So we're aiming to do a launch event with children and some sort of art installation, depending on what wonderful ideas they come up with through Put Up a Chair and the Living Archive that Sarah's just mentioned. And we're hoping to do a co-produced report with Not Fine in School and Square Peg, as well as some briefer formats, such as policy briefings and a infographic or some sort of kind of hand-drawn output, and a workshop with policymakers, as well as journal articles. I'm hoping I'm on time, but yeah, happy to take questions in the breakout rooms.